ग्रीटिंग्स एवरीवन। आई एम अरीबा पास और अभी तक हम लोग मुस्लिम लॉ में लेजिटिमेसी या एक्नॉलेजमेंट ऑफ पेरेंटिंग की बात कर रहे थे। तो इसी के साथ हम लोग अब देखेंगे कि मुस्लिम लॉ ऑफ लेजिटिमेसी विद द इंडियन एविडेंस एक्ट सेक्शन 112 क्या कहता है। तो अगर हम लोग इसका इंट्रोडक्शन एक ब्रीफ वे में देखें तो लेजिटिमेसी जो है हमारी सोसाइटी के पर्सपेक्टिव से एक बहुत सर्व डिसेबिलिटी प्रोवाइड करती है। इट्स अ ग्रेटर स्टिग्मा टूवर्ड्स नाउ डेज, और इसको टॉलरेंस या एक इंडिविजुअल पर्सपेक्टिव से देखा जाए तो एक बहुत ही ज़्यादा फैशनेबल हो चुका है। अब अगर हम लोग यहाँ देखें फर्स्ट जो हमारा टॉपिक है, द चेंजिंग टूवर्ड्स illegitimacy in earlier days subjected a bastard to serve disability and was a much greater stigma than it is nowadays. On the whole, our general social attitude have become more relaxed and tolerant towards individuals' shortcomings, and perseverance is becoming increasingly fashionable. The following observation is an illustration of this attitude. First, the whole concept of matrimonial offense is ridiculous. Who is guilty? Who is innocent? These are questions asked when we just have two victims in overwhelming situations. It is just that how can one decide whether the two of them have done such a ridiculous act, or they are innocents or something else. It is the society perspective that is being judgmental or not. Such remarks tends to give an impression that host regards adultery and similar act as serious matrimonial offense a person with an outmoded views and are out of tune and reality. See, it is just that we are talking about the society perspective, that the adultery form, if the persons have done an adultery and have the child, whether the child is to be called legitimate and illegitimate, and whether it is been modest form, a form of overwhelming situation or not. See, it is all the mentality of the society we are being seeing now. While it is true that psychology and sociology researchers have greater increased our understanding of the reality of matrimonial problems, yet a distinction should be made between the academic view of social trends and their reality. See, all these are being tends towards certain kinds of understanding towards certain situations and all. Despite such greater remarks, most of us still feel that the family is still a permanent and stable institution and is not an out of date concept. It is not old fashioned to speak of greater public interest in perceiving the integrity of the family. It is all about the two people who really wanted to be who really wanted to have a family or not. It is the Soviet law which in 1818 has abolished the distinction between legitimate and illegitimate children. See, in 1818 there was a law recognized between the legitimate and illegitimate children. It shouldn't be distinct between that, and were forced in 1944 to recognize certain difference between those parents who had registered marriage and those parents had not. See, in 1880 there was a law made that made a difference between these two, legitimate and illegitimate child, and in 1944 they made it force that it should not be the children who should be recognized, rather than parents whose marriage has been registered and whose marriage had not been registered. In Islamic laws embodied the principle of strict enforcement of sexual moralities, and holds that any sexual relationship is a crime unless it is between husband and a wife. So Islamic by the Islamic laws, the principle has been enforced that the sexual morality, sorry, it's not immorality, it's morality that holds a sexual relationship, it's a crime between the husband and wife. It's not, whether it is between any other person, it shouldn't be crime, or master or slave concubine in the old days under its provisions. Therefore legitimacy is a strict instant upon. Now if I talk about the English law, अभी तक हम लोगों ने जो देखा, it was the general perspective of the society whether they feel it is a crime or not, and it has been enforced in 1818 and 1944, the laws between two, whether they shouldn't be the legitimate and illegitimate child, it should be the between the parents, their registered marriage or not. So, under the English law, the conflict between the principle of the status of illegitimacy under the Muslim law and the provision of Section 112 of the Indian Evidence Act has given rise to certain controversies. Like this, like if I talk about the law in the law perspective, Section 112 given the legality towards certain principle and certain conflicts between that. Since Section 112 imports certain principle of English law, it seemed desirable to notice believe the rules of the English law. The English common law, which was modified by statute only recently, had two features. First, status of illegitimacy would not never be lost. The concept of legitimation, whether by subsequent marriage, adoption or recognition, was unknown. सो स्टेटस ऑफ इलेजिटिमेसी जो है, अब जिसके ऊपर एक बार नाजायज़ का टैग लग गया है, इट इज़ वेरी 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 इंपॉर्टेंट टू गेट दैट टैग to be dissolved. It is very difficult. It is not been removed if once the tag has been upon. So it is the concept between the marriage है, या फिर adoption है, या recognition है, या फिर unknown है. The status and the right of the illegitimate children were inferior, and as far as inheritance when virtual non-existent existent. Coke had remarked that the illegitimate child was feeless nuisance, the child of nobody. So the child, यहाँ पर अगर हम लोग स्टेटस का देखें तो वो बोल रहा है द इलिजिटिमेट चाइल्ड वॉज इन्फीरियर एंड इनहेरिटेंट वेरेंट वर्चुअल नॉन एग्जिस्टेंट. उस जो इलिजिटिमेट चाइल्ड था उसका कोई एग्जिस्टेंस ही नहीं था, और जो उसका इनहेरिटेंट है प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स में, वो भी उसको नहीं मिल रहा था. इसीलिए तो जो चाइल्ड था वो इफ़ दैट इलिजिटिमेट चाइल्ड का टैग लग गया तो वो फिर नहीं जाने वाला कॉन्सेप्ट हो गया. वेयर मैरिज वॉज लेटर डिक्लेयर्ड टू बी नल एंड वॉइड, children born of such union were illegitimate, and this continued till 1950 when legislation modified the rule. See, we were talking about 1988, then we came upon 1944. Now the legislation had modified the rule in 1950. So since then back, there were no such laws to be given the legitimacy and illegitimacy status, or which can tends to improve that. The tendency is to is to often the edges of the distinct between the legislation and the illegitimate children, and the rationality behind it is that law should not be discriminate against any child or impose disability on him by reason of accident of his birth. A recent New Zealand status is good illustration. See, as I told you, the laws was passed by 1944, said that it shouldn't be distinguishing or discriminating against the child who was born by the accident, but it should be by the parents whose marriage had been registered or not. Likewise, the legislation has modified the law in 1950 and tends to have that there is no reason to discriminate for that child. And for giving such example, we can quote the New Zealand statutes. It is a good illustration. Section 3 1 of the New Zealand Status of Children Act 1969 provides, for all the purpose of law of New Zealand, the relationship between every person and his father and mother shall be determined irrespective of whether the father and the mother are or have been married to each other, and all other relationship shall be deemed accordingly. See, Section 3 Clause 1 states of New Zealand Statutes of Children Act provides 1969 that the purpose of the New Zealand Act relationship between the father mother shall irrespective that the father mother had married to each other or not. They cannot discriminate the relationship between a child because of that, a Hong Kong court has recently held that the children of void union between a man and his Cuban are nevertheless lawful children of their parents. The deciding judge admitted that this conclusion would be seen extraordinary in Western eyes. See, in the Hong Kong courts also, these laws has been provided a distinct Cuban. It is a different mindset of the people that been defined the Western extraordinary eyes. In the law perspective, every child has been in a different form. The English common law rules is that a child is legitimate if its parents were lawful married either at the time of his conception or at the time of his child's birth. सी जो भी चाइल्ड है, am I comfortable in that? Okay, so whatever you guys may prefer in English or Hindi, you can comment and ask me in that also. So whether the child at the time of the parents child got, sorry, at the birth of the child, parents whether got married or not, or been married at the time of the conception of the child, it is depend on that, not the child has been discriminated. A presumption of legitimacy arises even through the child must have been conceived before the marriage or marrying the mother. The husband has prima facie taken have acknowledgement of his child as his own. This presumption of legitimacy makes the burden of proving illegitimacy of a child born to a married woman on whoever asserts that he is illegitimate. The presumption can be rebutted by proving that no sexual intercourse took place between the husband and the wife during the possible period within which he must have been conceived, or that despite such intercourse the husband has not the father as the mother had lover at the same time. See, here we were talking about the main concept is for the acknowledgement which the Islamic laws have also been perceived about upon. They states the acknowledgement is necessary whether the parents have been married at the time of the conception or marrying yeah, at the time of the birth, or at the time they were in love or some certain period. So in the later cases it was almost possible for a husband to dispute the paternity of a child born to his wife. This illustration illustrated by cases as Francis versus Francis, where a husband failed to rebut the assumption that he has the father of his wife's child, even though she admitted committed adultery at the time of the conception. He proved that he was habitually wearing a conception shield of that during the relevant period. See, here also, if the case laws has been given as an illustration that Francis versus Francis, she committed that she has been indulged in the adultery since long, and she didn't have that conceptions of uh, conceptions of that irrelevant period. So whether reliance is placed on the husband's impotency for the purpose of rebutting the assumptions of illiteracy. See, rebutting the assumptions of illiteracy was the third phase that which we have studied in the earlier class. It might still be possible to establish his paternity by proving that the birth was the result of artificial inseminations with his seed. The presumptions of illegitimacy continues. Nothing that the wife is shown to have committed adultery with any number of men. The law will not permit an inquiry whether the husband or some other is more likely to be the father of the child. It must be affirmatively be proved before the child can be bastardized that the child did not have sexual intercourse with his wife at the time when it was conceived. See, here the section has been right that nobody could question the adultery of a man with his wife, and the child could not be bastardized when he been born. Does one does once a sexual intercourse between the spouse is proved or presumed to have been placed at the material time marital time, no evidence is admissible to prove that the child was not the issues of that intercourse. So once that the child has been born, or the activities has been done, nobody could question that it is no evidentials to prove that. The presumptions of illegitimacy equally implies whether the child is born within the purpose of period of gestation after the marriage has been terminated by the husband death or by a final decree of divorce or nullity. See, the question as that what is the precise period of gestation still remain debatable. Now the talk of the R is the illegitimacy is an equally implies to the child born, or the period of gestations. It cannot be questions that the husband's death or the final degree of the divorce or the nullity. See, it is the form of debatable questions. And although it has been said that average period of gestation is 280 days, the court cannot accept this as an act without expert evidence and medical witness that has proved to tie down to either a minimum or maximum period. है ना? So the court cannot decide without the medical evidences whether the period of gestations is been before the marriage or divorce. Or certainly it is the medical period which defines that it is the maximum period of gestations or the minimum period of that. In Peston Jones versus Peston John, the House of Lords refused to hold that the birth of a child 360 days after the last possible date of matrimonial intercourse was to itself proof of adultery. See, the minimum in the above period was 280 days, and in the House in Peston Johnson was proved that 360 days was not possible to get matrimonial intercourse, and thus proved to be an adultery. The shortest period of gestation which has been accepted by the intercourse is 174 days. The position therefore remains the court will take judiciary notice of the fact that there is a normal period of gestation. By this, the court also assumed judicial notice that the period is always followed, but no specific minimum period of gestations are judicially recognized. By this, I hope you all have been clear about the gestation period. The court may decide about it, and how the legitimacy in the English law have been persuaded. So I hope you all have been clear about the facts of that. Now if you have any query, you can comment in the section and ask. I'll make sure I'll cross all your queries. Thank you. Keep watching the videos, like, share and subscribe the channel.